Your interaction with your phone is literally defined by the apps that are on it. They're often your gateway to your social media, your favorite shows, your navigation, your dinner plans, your photo edits, your games. Your phone probably has more data on you than any of your other devices, and probably more than many of your human friends. But do you actually know how much of that data you're giving away, or who you're giving it to? Whenever you install an app on your phone, you're trusting that app developer with your information. Every app you install requests permission from your device to control certain processes, access certain information, etc. In theory, all of the things to which an app requests access would be necessary to its ability to function, i.e., things without which it could not provide you the functionality you would expect. However, that is not always the case. Most commonly, permissions not related to your personal user experience will be related to one of two things: companies attempting to harvest user data, which they can use to create valuable market predictions and insights that other groups will pay for. Adversaries attempting to there's a huge fly. Huge. Is it gonna eat me? I'm so scared. What if it has a people swatter? Anyway, adversaries attempting to install malware such as spyware or a bot inclusion for a botnet. The Google Play Store and the Apple App Store both have robust vetting systems in place to install all the apps available are secure and legitimate, and therefore that they're only using the permissions granted to them for their stated purpose. But one, that purpose can absolutely be data collection, and neither store would object. I mean, come on, it's Apple and Google. Two, even their vetting systems don't always stop malware from falling through the cracks. I made a TikTok about a recent example of malware on the Google Play Store known as Phantom Lance, which I will link in the description below. In that example, the apps in question had been approved by the Google Play Store review process initially, and because once an app is trusted, it's far less scrutinized, subsequent updates to the app containing the Phantom Lance malware were not adequately reviewed, and were thus permitted to infect user devices. Whenever you install an app, you are essentially giving those app developers a portal into your phone, through which they can access anything you give them permission to, either explicitly or simply by virtue of your previous acceptance of the user agreement your specific platform would have prompted you with whenever it was that you first started downloading apps. While it is theoretically true that the apps on your phone can't grant themselves permission and must ask you for confirmation, often in practice that doesn't matter. Even if they do explicitly ask, they'll often bundle permissions together in the pop-up request. The pop-up that appears the first time you launch an app may list something like location services. Maybe this is a location-based app like a restaurant recommender or a traffic analyzer. You as a user know, to get the functionality I desire, I must approve this request. However, bundled into location services may also be the app's interest in continually monitoring your location, even in the background while the app isn't running, so as to sell data about the movement patterns of its users to interested parties. You can't use the app fully without accepting this functionality, and very rarely is there an I don't want my data sold but I do want vegan Thai food opt-out button. Data collection practices started being implemented long before anyone was standing up to question their ethics. Now, there has been a lot of discourse about massive data collection. Edward Snowden has made the point that because the amount of data being collected is so huge, it's actually very difficult to process, and therefore it's essentially only useful to inform about overall trends, i.e. it's probably not being used to monitor the specific movements of you personally. Even if this is true though, it doesn't negate the fact that one, other corporations are profiting from essentially things that you do and may or may not have told you they were doing so. Two, if you happen to be a person of interest, these portals could absolutely be used to dox you specifically. And as we mentioned, data collection is not nearly the worst thing that could be going on. There could be actual malware installed on your device capable of outing your personal information to adversaries, making you valuable to identity theft, robbery, general public ridicule. Basically, think of all the things your phone sees you do and hears you say, and then decide who you're comfortable having access to full recordings of those. Because when you grant camera and microphone access, that's potentially what you're making available. That pop-up doesn't say accessful using, it says access. Basically, here's what you should do to secure your phone as best you can. Make sure you only download apps from trusted developers. Conglomerates, capitalism, can make it hard to know who actually owns the app you're downloading. Investigate the parent company of anything you get and make sure it's legit even if it has been approved by the App Store. Limit the number of apps on your device. When in doubt, try not to download anything new unless you explicitly need it, and definitely delete anything you're no longer using. Periodically, go through and check what apps have what permissions. Both Android and Apple phones have made this much easier with recent updates. Revoke any permissions that seem unnecessary. You can always grant them again if it causes issues, but if you revoke permissions and your experience is uninterrupted, those permissions weren't to service you. They were to service someone else. This video was made in partnership with Grizzly Fields at Intent Solutions Group, a duly intelligent and supportive team of security analysts, one which I am deeply honored to be a part of, and one which you should definitely hire for all of your security needs. Also, if you came from TikTok or the Discord server, this special hello is for you. And if you haven't already, please go follow me on TikTok because we We are literally so close to 1 million, like less than 10K away. And I'm developing an eye twitch because it's so annoying. Can we just please? Also, my dark web video is not coming out until we hit 1 million. So, oh jeez, my microphone fell. Oh jeez, Rick. I love you guys. Stay safe. Until next time.
I'll leave my window open, pretend you're come inside. Can't fix what isn't